Southampton have used a few different systems this season already, a back five, a 4-2-2-2. What do you make of that latter system in particular?
Yeah, 4-4-2, whether it's a box shape or whatever, the two wides come on in off the line. So I think what you find in the Premier League is, can change to anything before a game and can change during the game. And we've got to be ready for that. We've got to be ready on the sidelines to adjust to that. And the players have got to be tactically sharp and alive and alert to any shape that people chuck on us, just as much as what we can do to other teams as well. I just think that's part and parcel of whether it's whatever division it is, that shapes will change, but usually it's not really shapes that kill you. It's a mistake or a bit of individual brilliance, and we've got to make sure, as I said, we cut out the silly mistakes, and when we have chances to punish opposition, and we have got to show our quality in the final third. And as I've always said, box to box, it's going to be a bit of a sparring match, but usually the result is decided in both boxes, and we have to be good in that aspect of the game.
Southampton was where you started your career. What's your overriding memories from your time there?
Fantastic education, working with good people in staff-wise, formative years that shaped me, not just as a footballer, but as a person really. And in that period, 14 as an associated schoolboy, going down there from Sheffield and moving away from home at 16, and it was fantastic. And I think if you look back at the amount of players that club has produced as professional footballers at different levels, because obviously I never made a senior appearance for Southampton, but in that time the likes of Matt Le Tissier, the Wallace brothers, Alan Shearer before, and then obviously in the years that they produced some really good footballers. Gareth Bale obviously started there, and the like. So it's I've ever grateful for the opportunity of being an old apprentice at an old First Division football club with the likes of 4 or 5 England captains there at the time. Mick Mills, Peter Shilton, Kevin Keegan was there just before I got there, but he was there as a schoolboy. So it was an incredible club at the time, and as I said, grateful for that opportunity. Obviously disappointed that I had to. I didn't make a first team appearance, and the first possibly disappointing situation that I had as a young person, really getting released at 19. But these things happen to a lot of players, and had to overcome that, and obviously went on to have a career. But as I said, from my point of view, eternally grateful for what happened in those early years at Southampton.
In terms of that step, how important was that in terms of forming your career, in terms of making it what it is today?
As a person, more than anything, just for character building and life lessons, really, in everything, in every way. Old school apprentice, having to do jobs, cleaning terraces, removing snow from the pitch and covers, and just everything, cleaning boots and just old school stuff that I think that might be a little bit controversial, that I know young players are now possibly don't do those sort of things that maybe the older ones did. I'm not sure, because I think there's certainly a connection that myself and the young players at Southampton had with the senior players, and how they lived their lives and how they were as professionals, top professionals at the time. Southampton at the time was a top old First Division football club that was battling it out to get into Europe, and as I said, the likes of the players that they had at the time. So not just from a football point of view, but certainly as from the character. And I think if you ask all those players at the time that was in that sort of age group, the 4 or 5 years that I was there, they would say exactly the same as what I'm saying now.
A lot of talent in the Southampton side, not least, of course, Che Adams making his way back to Bramall Lane. When he left the club, and you were here at the time, did he always look like a player that would make it to the Premier League?
Well, he was a young player. Obviously, he'd scored a few goals under Nigel and got some headlines. But there was an interest from another club, and he wanted to go. So it was important at the time that I wanted players that wanted to help Sheffield United out at the time. So there was no issue between myself and Che. He said he had pre-season with us. There was interest from him, and obviously at the time we had to raise funds as well to reinvest in different areas, and which we did. And obviously Che went on and did very well at Birmingham and had a great season last year to get his move to Southampton, and he'll be looking to establish himself as much as we are as a football club, and establish himself in the Premier League.